All right, here's the deal. Well, this is what I'm trying to do today. Don't know if it's gonna work. A while back, I made this candle right here. You guys can see it is so dusty right now, so just ignore that. Ignore the dust. It's been sitting in my garage. But I made this quite a while ago. It's actually pretty disgusting. But I love the candle. I like the candle. I love the vessel. Oddly enough, it got messed up, but I kind of like it. Something happened, you see with the paint there, but it gave it this really kind of cool aged look. That's besides the point. My whole thing is I like the little cactus, and the wick and the whole aesthetic. And so I was like, ooh, these would be, cute candles to make in the future. The only problem is I only have 2 molds. Okay. So I don't know if this is going to work. I'm going to try it out regardless. So I was thinking last night, how could I replicate this mold multiple times, right? Because if I make 10, 15 of these candles, I don't want to have to pour wax in only 2 molds and then wait, like a few hours and then have to keep remelting the wax. It would be a lot easier if I had multiple of these molds. So that is where this all comes in, okay? Last night I was trying to brainstorm how could I replicate this mold. And I was thinking of doing resin in there, but resin's also a pain in the butt. So I would have to wait for the resin to cure. I could have used UV resin possibly, but I don't know if it would have cured all the way through here. So the other thing I was thinking of doing was taking like a polymer clay and kind of pushing it in there and then taking it out and baking a whole bunch of them. That didn't really work because the polymer clay, as I was kind of pushing it in there, it was like stretching the mold out like this, and it wasn't really working. So I went to Michael's to see if they had a softer polymer clay. The polymer clay that I typically use to make earrings is a little bit of a stiffer type of polymer clay. So I didn't think that was going to work. So my next step was then going to, as I was in Michael's last night, I sat there and thought to myself, I've seen somebody putting hot glue into these molds before. And I thought to myself, why don't I do that? That would be the easiest way to replicate this enough times in a quick manner. Okay. So it wouldn't take me days to, make a bigger mold out of this, right? So that's what I did. I took hot glue. It took a few glue sticks to do that. And I replicated the mold. I have 11 copies now, and then I have 12, 13, which is more than enough because I usually only do small runs of candles. So, in the future, if I ever want to replicate, this, I could do it again. So the plan for me is to use these hot glue gun things and to then make a new silicone mold from these. Okay. I just got to go around and I'm going to take an X-Acto knife and kind of trim off all this excess that I don't need. Here's what we're going to do. I'm going to work on that. I'm going to trim these down and try to flatten them out a bit. But the next part is I went to Dollar Tree and I bought some Legos. So I don't have to destroy my son's Legos. He has tons of Legos. But we're actually going to make a mold cavity out of these Legos. And then I bought this black board and also some contact paper from the Dollar Tree. Okay. And I'm going to put this over the black paper just so that I don't know how silicone and cardboard react with each other. So I kind of want a smooth surface to peel it back off. We also need a glue gun and we need the silicone, which I have upstairs and I will get in a moment. So first things first, I'm going to trim these down and I'm going to just, inspect these. This one's kind of messed up right here. So I don't think we'll be using that one. So as I'm trimming them up, I'm going to make sure that, they're all, they all have, their full bodies. So let me get to trimming this and then I will come back. Okay, so I actually found that using a nail file and just kind of filing down the edges worked a little better to get off the little extra pieces that were hanging off. And so the next part was me playing with Legos, and I'm just going to speed through this because nobody needs to watch me trying to fit Legos together with extremely long nails. But I was just laying out my pieces, and then I built like the initial wall around it to see how big it was going to be. And then I put it together. And I have to say, I don't notice much of a difference between these dollar store Legos and like the regular Legos. They all don't really stick together all that great and kind of fall apart when you're trying to like hold it. So I find that happens with regular Legos. My son built this like Adidas shoe one time, and oh my God, this thing would not stay together. It was such a pain. But yeah, that's just how it is with Legos. But I would highly recommend these Dollar Tree Legos. I mean, they work just like regular Legos. So yeah. All right, I had to go to Walmart, but we got our Lego thing built. We got our silicone, okay, from Let's Resin. I ordered that on Amazon. It's the only thing that you cannot get at the store, unfortunately. I just went to Walmart and I bought this box of cookie cutters. And you're probably like, why do you need cookie cutters? Well, because I don't have enough room for the extra 2 that I made, I'm going to use these as our molds, and we're going to put them in here if I have extra resin. I don't know how much to mix up. That's going to be a little bit of a problem, but so we're going to use those as molds. Okay, so the next step is I'm taking the contact paper that I bought from Dollar Tree. It's in the kitchen section, and I'm just cutting out pieces to fit under our Lego and our cookie cutters, and I'm gonna peel that off. Just a little tip, if you have trouble ever getting the backing off of like a sticker or something like this where it's hard to separate, take an X-Acto knife and just kind of stick it in between the 2 layers and it'll come up no problem. It's a little sign maker's tip for you there. I'm putting it upside down. Now that might seem odd to people. Oh, why did it have to get that ugly wrinkle in it? I don't think that wrinkle is going to really matter too much though. We're going to take our little Lego thing and we are going to pick it up very carefully. Oh, I don't like this wrinkle, but all right. And we're going to just stick it down on here. Okay. Just like that. And we're going to take the other piece. We're going to put that there and we're going to put that there. Actually, we're not going to put that there because I don't want the damn wrinkle in there. All right. All right, and then we're gonna take the glue gun and we're gonna go around the edges here just to kind of like seal it so it doesn't seep out the bottom, because that would not be fun. Okay, so I just went around the edges, kind of like you're doing caulking, and I just put hot glue there just so that the silicone doesn't, seep out when we pour it, because we're pouring a liquid into this, essentially. A very viscous liquid, but a liquid nonetheless. So I just did the same thing around the cookie cutters, and that's it. Okay, now here is where I made a huge mistake. I should have known better than to trust the Dollar Tree adhesive on the contact paper, because I thought I could get away with just sticking these down to the sticky side of the paper and then pouring the silicone on top of them and, hoping for the best. Well, as you'll see, what ended up happening is that some of them popped up after I had, fully poured it, and they kind of floated up, which is no good. We need them to stick to the back. So with the smaller ones, the cookie cutter ones, I actually took a little tiny bit of hot glue and just glued them down for some extra security, and that worked so much better. But anyway, I'm reading the instructions. Make sure you thoroughly read the instructions on whatever silicone you use. You don't have to use the Let's Resin one, but this one is a 1-to-1 mixed ratio. So you just basically measure out whatever it is, if you're doing it in ounces or grams or however you measure, on a scale, okay? And measure out equal parts and then mix them together. So I just totally took a wild guess. I did 2 ounces of part A and 2 ounces of part B, and, for a total of 4 ounces, and mixed it together. And the mixing time is ridiculous. It tells you to mix anywhere from 3 to 5 minutes on this one. So your wrist is going to get extremely tired. Now, there was a lot of bubbles in this, and I was super worried about that. I was like, oh my God, I don't know if this is going to be a mess. It's going to be a waste of money. But most of the bubbles ended up escaping once I poured it. Okay, so again, I'm just kind of speeding through this, but I heard that if you hold it really high up and have this small stream and pour it from high up, it'll reduce the amount of bubbles that you get, which I do think helped. So I held it about like 2 feet or maybe even a little bit more above the mold and just kind of poured it all in there. And thank God I had a great estimate because I had just the right amount to cover the entire thing. You want to make sure that you get at least like an eighth of an inch, covered over your piece. So you could see me here just trying to get the rest out of the cup. But these are covered and they're really hard to see since they're hot glue and they're kind of translucent themselves. But I was able to cover everything. And you could see me with the straw. I'm blowing out some of the larger bubbles that are coming to the top. And this is where things went wrong. And some of the cactuses actually started to float up. So you could actually see me trying to push them back down, which was terrible. So now I'm gluing the other ones down in the cookie mold so I don't have the same mistake happen because of quite a few of them were floating up. I ended up out of 9 of them. I was able to use 7 of them in total. A few of them kind of popped off the backing and floated up. So I would definitely suggest using hot glue to hold them down to the, bottom. And I mixed up just a little bit more and did another pour over into these little cookie molds. And these ones came out much better than the other ones than the other one. I could still use the other one. It's just that, it got a little messed up because some of them floated up and it just became a mess. So you do kind of have to sit here and babysit this stuff for a little while, watch for bubbles, blow them out with the straw. It's kind of a pain in the ass. It has a half-hour working time. So pretty much after a half hour, you could kind of let it go and, let it be. Now, I read in the instructions that if you cover it, okay, and basically seal it off from the air, it will it'll help it dry better and so it won't be sticky because what happens is I guess it pulls moisture out of the air while it's curing and, it makes it a little sticky. So this is another spot where I made a little bit of a mistake. I took a seal and press or whatever that stuff is called and I put it over the big one and it actually like kind of sunk in and grabbed a little piece of the bottom there. So don't use, something that's flexible that's going to touch the surface of your. So with the other 2, I just covered them with like a piece of cardboard and they were fine. Just you don't want it to dip in there. But I didn't get that part on camera. And so the next thing we do is just basically wait for this to cure. It said 5 to 6 hours, but I just let it sit overnight. And then here we are. Here's the big reveal. All right, we got quite the mess up here. I was making candles last night. We had a lot going on. But I did cheat, and I did take one of them apart this morning, and it worked. I'm shocked. Looks pretty good. A little extra skin there, but I'm very excited. It actually worked. The top's a little wrinkled. I think that's from the tape that I used, but let's take this one apart. So this is basically what you do. Pulls right out of there. We'll save those for another time. Open this up. And just kind of work this out. Definitely got some under it, but that's okay because we could pull it out and there you go. This one worked as well. So we just got to cut off that extra bits of silicone that hung over. So we got 2. Now this one is going to be the problematic one, as we know. This stuck to it. That's not good. Do not use press and seal to cover this because, well, as you can see, it got stuck on here. Now they said if you didn't cover it, it's going to be sticky. I don't think that's actually the press and seal. I think that's just an impression that it left. All right. This one's going to be a mess. Oh, this one feels sticky. I let them cure overnight. Even though it said a couple of hours, I figured I'll let it sit overnight. This one, I don't think we're going to have as much luck on. So let's see. Let's see what we got here. Yeah, a lot of them got sucked in. Oh man, what a waste. Because I didn't glue these ones down. So we might have to do a little more than just ripping off some of the skin here. Let's get this out of the Lego mold. I really don't want to break this thing. See, this is going to be a problem, but I might be able to trim that off and still use this. And I think if I could keep this Lego mold from completely breaking apart, we could use it again. Obi, I'll let you out in a second. Could you give me a second? Whoa. All right. All right, so let's see if we could get at least some of these out of here. And I think we could still use this if I cut this. All right, well, I'm not gonna mess with that too much. I need some scissors. That one worked. This one worked. So this is still somewhat usable. The rest of them, I think, are entombed in there. Oh my God. All right. This one worked. I really think glue is the way to go because these did kind of float up in there. This one's just gonna live in there forever, I think. As is, whoop, nope, we got another one. All right, so this wasn't a total fail. It's definitely usable. I just gotta cut these shapes out a little. But I could definitely still use it, I think. I'll have to try that. The problem is I have to order wax, which is why I made these for wax. Okay, so I'm sure you guys don't want to sit here and watch me wrestling the rest of these out of here. Out of the 9, I was able to salvage at least 7 of them from the thing. So, you know, that's good. And then I did another round. So I reused the same Lego piece and remixed, you know, some more silicone, and hopefully, you know, we'll get a few more out of that. I really just wanted to have at least like 10 to, you know, 11 or 12. If I get more, that's great, that are usable, so that when I want to, you know, make these candles, I have 15 molds to fill instead of 2. So that was really what the whole point of this was. So here's what this one looks like close up, and as you can see, I have to trim around some of the, you know, extra skin that's hanging over the edges, but I cut out the one piece. Sorry, these are some wax melts I made. I cut out, you know, this little piece here because it was just stuck in there. I mean, I couldn't get it out, so I just cut it off. This one's destroyed, but, you know, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of them, you know, should be usable. I just got to trim the little pieces. And then this one actually was my best one right here, this little circle one. And if you look at the original, you know, this one obviously is nice because it's in the shape, but you know, this is what happens when you DIY. So this one was actually my best one, the larger kind of cookie cutter one, but I have another one ready to go. This was kind of a nightmare to do too because I couldn't get the part B out of the silicone, but this little one also worked out, but there's a bubble in it right there that will transfer into the design. This is my first time ever, you know, doing anything like this. So once I trim this up, I got to get like nice, you know, fine pointed scissors, and I'm just going to cut off these extra little pieces. So I did do a little test piece right here, and it came out really good. As you can see, I just did it with the hot glue again, and I don't have any more wax, so I'm going to wait. It's still a little sticky for some reason. So I don't know if there's a way I could wash that. Like, it's just like a tiny bit sticky, or if it'll maybe just disappear over time. But I do want to, you know, try this with wax eventually. But it says to wait 24 hours before using them. I did kind of cheat by using the hot glue gun to, you know, make the little sample. But it definitely worked. And that's it. So yeah, that is how you could replicate molds that you have, at least simple molds like this, by just using hot glue gun and, making your little pieces out of hot glue. So if you have a small mold like this and you want to replicate it and make, make a bigger mold with more, pieces, then this is definitely a good way to do so. And once I get the wax in, the right type of wax, I will maybe, do a follow-up video so you guys can see how they worked. So that's it for now, and I'll see you guys in the next one.